They don't want you. They don't want you. You actually have to be likable to find someone. The fact that women don't need men to survive anymore has caused the male loneliness epidemic. Men had to manufacture a sense of need for their presence. And you don't know how to be desirable to women, so you're lonely. Aww.
So I found some statistics about the male loneliness epidemic that I thought was really interesting. So there was a Gallup poll done that showed that 25% of men feel lonely. And that does suck, and that is a lot. But when you dig a little deeper, you see that 18% of women feel lonely. So then I started to wonder, well, why is it called an epidemic, specifically for men? This seems like a society issue of not being able to connect, not knowing how to socialize. So why are all the articles specifically targeting men and saying they're lonely? And I discovered the reason. When women are lonely, they internalize that shit. A lot of times they fall into depression, they have anxiety, they isolate, and they self-blame. But when men are lonely, they externalize their loneliness. They get angry, they feel entitled, they resort to radicalization and violence, which is why we see all these red pill content creators. That's how they handle their loneliness. They blame it on the women, and not just on a changing society that has gone more online than in person. Women tend to seek out therapy or social support. On their healing journey, they will start to journal, they will volunteer, they will get a hobby. They will spend a lot of time reflecting on what's wrong with them. But men go a different direction. They blame women. They isolate in toxic echo chambers. They get on incel forums, listen to the misogynistic influencers, and get addicted to corn. You know what it sounds like. And then they become radicalized, where they participate in mass shootings, domestic violence, or even higher unaliving rates. Although it's still not much higher than women. So they're calling it an epidemic because the expression of male loneliness is more socially destabilizing. It's more likely to result in them harming others. It's fueled by unmet emotional needs while also lacking emotional tools. And then it's reinforced online by the red pill community, who are also lonely. So in essence, when women are lonely, they suffer privately. When men are lonely, everyone's going to suffer publicly.
Male loneliness epidemic, it's just women refusing to be manipulated anymore. We're educated and we're independent. We've read the books, we've done the healing, and we've gone to therapy. We're not interested in babysitting fragile egos anymore. You don't get applause for doing the dishes, and you don't get loyalty by being barely tolerable. And no, being a good guy doesn't mean you're owed a relationship. We've raised our standards, not walls. And the ones yelling not all men are the ones proving exactly why we say that. That's why birth rates are dropping, not because we hate men, but because we refuse to sign up to raise one. We're not risking our peace, our bodies, our sanity for someone who calls emotional labor nagging. We're not bitter, we're just done. We're done shrinking ourselves to fit someone's ego, done mistaking crumbs for commitment, done being told we're too much when really we were never asking for enough. This isn't a war on men, it's a wake-up call. Because the new standard is self-respect. And if that feels like rejection, maybe you weren't showing up with love, just entitlement. We're not hard to love, we're just no longer easy to manipulate. And that's not loneliness, that's liberation. Here's the fix. Men need to stop asking, will you be my girlfriend, like we should be flattered. And start asking themselves, am I even worthy of being her boyfriend? Like maybe, just maybe, we're the prize. Because we are, and until they figure that out, they can stay lonely.
So there have been a lot of, views online about this whole men, loneliness and all of that. A lot of them complain about how they can no longer find love or find companionship with women and all of that, and how they feel lonely. There was this guy that came online. I was talking about how he, he joined a particular, all these sites where you find love or something, right? So he joined one of those sites and he was not able to get a date for months, okay, until he was able to just get one date and say it didn't click. So a lot of people came out and talk about the whole men loneliness, how they feel lonely, that getting women is not so hard. And let's actually be real about this whole thing, right? I think men are just is not understanding what is really happening. It's not that they are lonely or there's no woman for them to meet. It's the fact that that women have grown, like they have moved from where they used to be and becoming more. Okay, women are becoming more than what we are all taught as a people. We were groomed to respect, keep ourselves for only men. We are grown to, or groomed to, we just grew up hearing our mothers saying, you have to respect the man, you have to keep yourself for the man, you have to do this for the man, you have to clean for the man, you have to clean after him, you have to do this for him. But nobody's actually training these men. I think that's what is actually happening. Now, women have been able to find out that they can actually be independent without a man. So, because of that, men are no longer finding those, toys that they used to see in women because they saw women as toys at the time. But right now, they are no longer seeing those kind of people. They are not seeing women who have improved in so many dimensions and have become independent, have grown over time. We are no longer like our mothers. I think that's what is happening. Well, guys, I have other clips for you guys. I'm just going to let them roll. Then I'll come back with the commentary. Credit belongs to all creators on this video. So let's go watch. Then I'll come back with more commentaries.
It's hard for me to feel bad for incels because most of the people that are like suffering from this male loneliness epidemic are really just a bunch of dudes that are upset that they can't treat women any kind of way and they don't have that entitlement to women's bodies like their dads and their granddads did, because women have more access to resources now. Like a lot more women are going to college, a lot more women have the chance to be like financially stable by themselves and not have to depend on another man, you know what I mean? Like they and instead of leveling up or doing any kind of self-work to make themselves like a viable candidate for like marriage or dating, they just sit back and bitch and moan about how unfair society is and how society lied to them. And it's that last part right there that makes me have no kind of empathy for these dudes, because it's like they sit up and watch red pill content all day, and a lot of the content is where it has like women being held accountable, and it's just really hypocritical because they aren't holding themselves accountable for their bad behaviors and their actions, you know what I'm saying? And it's just it's frustrating because they, no matter what you say to them, they're always going to have this victim mentality about them, and it's just annoying as fuck. And now there are some dudes where it's like they have a hard time talking to people in general, and they aren't like the typical incels, and I do feel bad for those dudes because like I suffer from social anxiety, you know what I mean? I know what it feels like to be scared to talk to folks in public, you know what I mean? I have those people I have empathy for, but the other motherfuckers that want to get violent with women and force themselves onto women, y'all are hoes.
A lot of you younger guys are probably gonna unfollow me for this, but if you think women don't like you because of your looks, go to your nearest park on a sunny day, sit on a bench, and observe the men that you see in relationships. But newsflash, buddy, it's not your hairline, it's not your jawline, and it's not your facial symmetry. Put down the red pill, stop the self-loathing, and this might sound crazy, but treat women like, I don't know, people.
So a lot of men actually are not taking responsibility for themselves or taking accountability for their actions. Instead, they try to play the whole victim mentality and, blame women for, for them being lonely, blame women for everything. Instead of a man to come out outrightly and said, you know what, we've actually been wrong, or I started in a wrong note with these people, maybe I should have a rethink about relationship, try to treat women right, learn how to talk to a lady and not talk to her like she's a toy. That, sometimes it's actually not the money, because sometimes some of these men say, oh, all the women want money, what they are looking for is money. I don't think everything is actually about money. They are not looking for money per se, because right now women are working and they're getting their own money, they are doing well. It's not just about your money, it's the fact that most of you just do not know how to treat women. You have not taken your time to understand who a woman is and what she wants, where she's going to. Some of you don't even know the vision of the woman you're dating. Okay, what's her vision for life? What's her purpose? What does she want to achieve? All of those things are questions that need to be asked, on dates, and not just women are no longer looking for men that, like babies that they have to pamper, and they are looking for women who we understand and treat them as a lady. But some of you you guys need to go back to your mamas to go learn some things, I guess.
The crazy thing about the whole male loneliness epidemic is that men know what they need to do to get women. It's not that hard to figure out. They just hate that it would mean conceding to a matriarchy. They want women, but they also want women in a dynamic where they have the power. It's not just about wanting women. Like, they want to have women, but they want to also be in control of that woman. So it's less about them being lonely. It's more about them feeling like they're needing to concede the power that they felt like they were promised their entire lives. We're telling them to put in effort, whether that's effort in like their emotional maturity or the way they look, the way they present themselves, whatever. And they don't like that because they feel entitled to women. They feel like they shouldn't have to put in effort At least, especially not as much effort as women have to put into themselves in order to get women. If you look at the women, or if you look at the men that women like lust after, it's usually men, like in terms of public figures. Like I saw a video of Pedro Pascal. It's men that stick up for things that are right. Pedro Pascal's obviously a beautiful man, but it's men that are comfortable with their masculinity. It's men that don't feel threatened by femininity. It's men that stand up for what's right and stands up for people who are marginalized or people who don't have as loud of a voice. But these men insist on clinging on to these patriarchal structures, and it's because they want women in the context of having power over a woman. They don't want a woman just in general. They don't want a woman as an equal partner. They want a woman that they can control and feel better and stronger than. Because in their mind, that's what it means to be masculine. That's what being a man means. And that's what we've all been indoctrinated into and what we've all been taught. But as much as we're trying to teach them that we need to break down this conditioning, they do not want to break it down because it's not convenient for them to do so. Because it sacrifices a lot of their identity. It's not that they don't understand, it's just the truth is very inconvenient for them. Okay, the truth would be like conceding to what women want out of men would be conceding to accepting us as equals. And that's not something that they're willing to do.
Male loneliness epidemic. Yeah. Do you want to know the last time a man held the door open for me? Do you want to know the last time a man wanted to see me in the daylight? Do you want to know the last time a man bought me flowers? Do you want to know the last time a man picked me up for a date? I'm sorry that I'm not jumping at the opportunity to be treated like complete fucking dog shit. I'm sorry that I'm not jumping at the opportunity to receive the bare minimum from a man. At the end of the day, I can do all those things for me, and I can do it without some man bitching and whining and moaning in my ear about it. I dated a guy one time and he told me, well, I can't buy you flowers that much because then you're just going to expect it and it's not going to be as special. Why isn't it just like a normal thing that you regularly do? And I also had to ask for flowers, and he never held the door open for me. The last time I was involved with a man that I wanted to date, he threatened to leak my nudes when I pissed him off, and then he gaslit me and called me crazy, and the whole time he was talking to a complete other girl. And also, I don't really feel like getting into a relationship and then immediately being pressured by society to get married, have children, start a family, because apparently that's all that women are good for in this day and age. And I've done the math. My life is just a whole lot better and easier without a man in my life dating me, because at the end of the day, I don't need to depend on them for happiness, and I'm way better off on my own. And until a man wants to treat me right, then I'm fine being single. So maybe do better.
So I read an article today where a particular lady was writing. So there's this particular lady who is a celebrity, and she's actually trending for a DV case, all right, and she got married very early in life and all that. So now this lady was now writing an article concerning this particular trending news, and she said, you know what? People should not get married until after 25. Okay, young ladies shouldn't get married, or in fact, you don't have any reason to be in a very serious relationship at that point in your life, because at that time you are supposed to, graduate out of college, get a good job, be financially stable. I think women have moved from the point where they tell us, go to school, study hard, get a good job, and get married and have kids. That's no longer the ideology of life right now. The ideology of life is, go to school, get a good grade, get a good job, and be financially sustainable or stable as a woman, so you can take care of yourself and have a career in life. Okay, nobody's mentioning about marriage and relationship these days, because sometimes we've seen over time that most men, they took time, our parents took time to groom us as women, right? But they didn't take time to really do a lot of work in some men's life. There are women that are actually parents that did that for their boys, right? But most men we're seeing now are no longer men, right? A lot of them happen to be boys whose attitude, their character, everything about them is just so work. Like, you will just wonder the kind of speech that comes out of their mouth, and you just like, what's happening? Who just spoke? Is that a 5-year-old? No, it's not. It's actually an adult who happened to be a male, has been crying about loneliness, not knowing that he needs to work on himself, his attitude, his character, his IQ, his mentality and all of that. A lot of them don't know that they need to do a lot of job. As a woman, I know how many courses I take a month, just to improve myself for personal branding, personal growth, just you can have anything, like you can just name it. Okay, there are just so many things. We're working as women to improve our life on a daily basis. We go to college, we come out with good grades, and we want to get a good job. We put in our work in so many things. Whatever thing we set our mind to do, we put so many work in it and all that. But yeah, come to think about it, the male counterpart, they just believe that they have everything that we are looking for. That at the end of the day, the ideology is that at the end of the day, all this money you're gathering, you still come back to me. Okay. They just believe that at the end of the day, everything that a woman is looking for is to get married. Okay, not every woman is now looking for marriage. Not every woman is looking to be in a relationship with anybody. A lot of them just want to be their, just have their single life where you get to come back home. Nobody's there. You don't have to open door for anybody or say, oh, where did you go to? Or you need to answer to anybody. There's some people who have the ideology, okay, that you don't need to be in any relationship with anybody. Why there are people, yes, there are, women, male-centered women, right? But yes, there's still women who has grown over time. And that's why it's as if, a lot of men...
There is a male loneliness epidemic,
they are no longer
or the lonely man problem. Let me tell you this much.
Women
you guys are going to have to change your mindset. We had to change our mindset. See, we have been told our whole lives by media, by society, by our own parents, by our churches, by all these people and all these systems that in order to be happy, in order to be fulfilled, in order to have all this whatever, we had to have a man. And it took a lot of deprogramming to get that out of our heads and realize that that's just not true. That we can be picky because we want more than just looks and money. My mother was diagnosed with colon cancer on Friday. And on Saturday, when I told my girlfriends, I got home from work, and it was my girlfriends who sent me a candy basket. It was my girlfriends who offered, no less than 10 women who offered to cook, to clean for my mother, to take my mother to chemo treatments. These are women who don't know my mother. These are women who have full-time jobs and children. And that's what they offered to do. They offered to come sit with me and just love on me. How many men do you know who do that for their male buddies? I get my fulfillment now today from the women in my life. I'm not lonely ever. If something happened to my husband tomorrow, I don't need to go out and just replace him because I'm not fulfilled or I need him for money. Because I have love and comfort and support from incredible women in my life.
Bye, guys.